Welcome back, everybody, to Positive Connections Radio and Halt and Call for Backup. Mike Cook and Jim McLintock here. Jim, how is it going?
Going great, Mike. It's going great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's another great day, and we are going to pick another word here. What do you think about that?
We are going back to Michael Cook's positive
Word
word
jar.
jar.
Yep, and it's right here. The jar never lies.
All right,
Pick
here we
one
go.
and then talk about it and see what we come up with. It's very
Let's let it.
very possible it's already in the show title right now. And I haven't even made the title yet. Isn't
I
that
know, right?
isn't
That's the
that
amazing thing about it. I don't know how you're going to create the title, but it's going to happen.
it might have something to do with this word. You want to pick it?
Mm-hmm. Here we go. It's that one right
It'd
there.
be
Can you grab
great.
that?
It's just
Yeah, my hand it just hit the lid. How about that one right there? I should have gone, ouch.
All right. All right. Here, give it back to me now. All right. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, can you read it?
I don't know how we did that, but it did it. We did it.
The miracle of podcasts. That's why it's coast to coast with Mike Cook and Jim McLintock. Man, we just reached across the
Dude,
coast.
look what I got.
What'd you get? Community.
Community.
Oh my gosh.
Is that great or what?
Do you want to start or
That's the
shall I?
title, community.
Community.
No,
That
I
should
don't.
be
What? That should be what?
that should be the title. You got it.
All right. Well, maybe it probably will be community, something like
Yeah.
that. Jeez, perfect.
The first thing that leapt to my mind,
What was it?
the strength of the wolf is the pack. The strength of the pack is the wolf. You
Roger
talk about
Kipling.
community. Rudyard Kipling, you got it, baby.
I still don't know his full name. What is his name again?
Rudyard.
Rudyard. I always thought it was Roger.
It's okay. We can call him. We'll call him Roger Kipling. Then we'll have people on the show typing to us. No, you idiots! It's Rudyard.
Where did you go to school at? Everybody knows that.
How about that, Roger Kipling?
Oh, good old Roger. Roger K. I hope it's for the K at the end.
It is a K. Kipling.
Right.
Yeah, he wrote the Jungle Book, and that's the most amazing quote ever. The strength of the wolf is the pack,
Yeah.
and then the other way around, the strength of the pack is the wolf, and that to me is the ultimate visual of
Yeah.
community.
Yeah. When I think of community, I think of connection. And when I think of connection, I think of that is the opposite of addiction and untreated mental health issues. We a lot of times think it's recovery. We think that, oh, okay, well, if I'm have an alcohol issue and I stop drinking, then I'm in recovery and I'm working a good program. And then the opposite of addiction is recovery. No, it is connection. It is that community. We need that community to survive. It's hard doing this alone. A lot of us try, but we don't have to. We have to realize we don't have to do anything. I strongly suggest we realize that having help, asking for help, receiving help, most of us will help anybody, strangers and all, especially, the first responder realm. We're trained and we go into that profession. That's why we get these jobs. We don't just all of a sudden acquire it like, oh, I'm a cop now. Now I get to help people. We've always had it in us for whatever reason, whatever our motivators were growing up that made us go into law enforcement or the first responder realm. And we have that, and we have that sense of community also. And it's not something that we just develop. We make it better over time, but we have it going into it, and we're willing to help everybody else. A lot of times we forget to help ourselves, and we want to do it alone because the jobs that we do, even if you're a truck driver, even if you're is a business person or whatever you're doing in life, hopefully you're doing it and you like doing it. Because I had jobs that I did not like doing. I just did because I needed a paycheck. And that was usually when I was younger, before I was a police officer. And I would rather have a job that I love doing, I have passion for, and also get paid for it, of course, and have a good life and be proud, like one of the other words that we had pulled, and have that sense of community and have those people around me that I can call at any time. Like I got your number, I got other people's numbers, and I'm able to pick up my phone and text or call or FaceTime or Zoom or whatever it is, and I could have them in my life. And I work with a lot of really great people, and I have a lot of really good peers in my life that are on all different parts of the spectrum of the first responder realm, and I'm very, very happy to have that community.
It's one of the first lessons that we learn in being an emergency responder is don't fear calling for backup. We're trained to call for backup. We're trained to ask for additional cover units. We're trained to set out a second alarm on the fire that we just pulled up to. We're trained to ask for help. And we do it so easily in our emergency responder careers. And yet, what gets in the way of when we're having our days off or we're struggling with something, what gets in the way of us calling for backup and having community when we need it in our personal lives or even in our professional lives? How many of us make mistakes at work and get into trouble? And what do we try to do? What's the first response? I don't want to tell anybody about it. Versus, it would be really good if I raised my hand right now and walked up to my supervisor and said, this is something I should talk to you about. Something just happened here, that I need to get into the light of day, or this is what I'm going through. We call for backup. And that's really important to push past, like you were talking about, the one of the words we talked about before on our podcast was pride. Push past that. That's unhealthy pride. When that kind of pride gets in our way and we want to keep to ourselves, we want to burden anybody else. Mike, how many times have you heard this? You're sitting in your chair at work and some emergency responder that's on your client load comes in and says to you, I don't want to tell you this, Mike, because I don't want to traumatize you. Or or we hear, I broke my last therapist and I don't want to traumatize anybody. So I've been keeping these things to myself. And it's like, no, talk about this. Start talking about this, because the healing, weirdly enough, is in the pain and feeling every ounce of it and pushing through the pain and doing it with your community.
And that's why it's so important to you. I love how you bring up that point about I don't want to re-traumatize. I don't want to traumatize you with my trauma. That hasn't ever happened to me, by the way, because I was a cop. I know what the trauma is. It's pretty much nothing you can say to me that's really going to re-traumatize me. It might bring back memories, and I get memories a lot. And some of us get triggered, and some of us get catapulted back to that spot again, and we can't get out of it. We can't get free. Every time we open the door, it's that sound of whatever it is. And however, there are therapists out there that clearly don't work with trauma.
Yeah.
Clearly might state that they do work for trauma, and then they have the trauma pushed at them, and they're like, whoa, whoa, wait a minute. I didn't know you were talking about freaking heads falling off people's bodies and freaking suicide and death and carnage and mistreatment and neglect and all that. No, it takes a special person to absorb those things. But a lot of times we're worried about what others think of us and what our stories might how they might affect other people. And that's why
Right.
it's so important and it's so great. FRW, First Responder Wellness, is awesome because you're working with other first responders. You're with their peers, and we can talk about things that we just can't talk to people that have never experienced this before.
Mm.
It's like if you've never been in the military before, it's sort of hard to like really 100% relate, even though they're very closely to, you know, quasi-militaristic type of jobs out there, but we can relate to each other once we've been in those fields and experienced these things. And it's pretty much all around society. And that stigma about asking for help and the stigma about being able to, put your big boy pants back on and get back out there. And if you didn't, you're the one that signed up for this job. And if you can't hack it, then you have the opportunity to leave. Instead of being empathetic and understanding and saying, ah, young boot, I was in your shoes once and I wish
Mm.
someone would have told me this.
Yeah.
And you give them some love, right? You give them some love. You tell them, hey, this is normal. You might be having a reaction to this. This is really bad stuff. Let's get through this scene. We'll talk about it. All right. It's okay to
Right.
talk about it instead of just pushing it aside. Dispatch is on the horn saying, hey, you need to go to a barking call. Give me a couple minutes, right? Nothing, there's no emergency to this. I need to take a little break. We need to talk. It's okay.
Some of the best supervisors, partners, trainers that I ever had were the ones that were shoulder to shoulder with me from day one, and having those real learning conversations, uh, and the reality of the situation. Jim, how do you feel about this call? And my first response is, oh, no big deal. And then the supervisor or the trainer says, scared the shit out of me, you know? And I was like, yeah, it really was. It really was a deal, and then to have the ability to have those conversations one on one without any fear of, judgment or anything else that goes on. But to be real about this is a tough job. It's only getting tougher. I thought my generation of lifeguarding and police officering was tough enough. They just keep adding more and more stressors to it. Just, welcome to the planet. This is the way it goes as technology changes and social uh, media changes. Everyone's on point, and it's a tough career to be in, especially now. I don't know what's going to happen next year, but it's a hard career to be in. But you know what else, Mike? It's a dang beautiful career to be in too. There's nothing better. Talk about community. There's nothing better than to get a call in the middle of the night, and someone needs help. Someone's life is on the line, and you stand on the gas pedal, whether you're a paramedic, firefighter, law enforcement professional, dispatchers working as fast as they can to get the information out and get the information down as they type it in to get help going. Because we all know there's a serious time clock ticking. What's the average? About 4 minutes from the time the call gets in to the time it gets dispatched out and you're on your way. We all know that time clock is ticking, and we're like stepping it up to get there, especially when we know there's children or infants involved. Uh, that's a beautiful part of community to me. Is I don't know who you are. I don't know if you like me or don't like me. I don't know what your politics are. I don't care. You just called 911. I'm on my way.
Yeah. And your partners are going to be there too. You have a
Yeah.
team you work with. No matter what's going on the outside, if there's protest or whatever, it's going to be happening anyway. Year after year after year. It just looks a little bit differently, but it happens all the time. And what we need to remember is, and what I like to think about it as my tribe. What is my tribe? Who is my tribe? It doesn't just consist of my immediate family, my blood relatives, right? I mean, my tribe consists of my friends, co-workers, people in recovery,
Mhm.
former and current first responders, the whole realm of it. And those are my tribe. You're part of my tribe,
Mhm.
and I look at it that way. It's that group, that community, community service, community rec center. Some people really enjoy church, the community of having a church to go to something to believe in. You all have that common denominator. You have this base that you believe in, whatever you believe in, and that's where the healing starts, and that's where the healing begins. And I have to
Absolutely.
remember there's a difference between community and the mentality, or that part where you segregate yourself from everybody else and your little group is the best and you want to talk bad about other people, and that can get really toxic. If
Yeah.
you ever experienced that in one of your jobs before, where there's a group of people that are known as the kick ass take names, or the people that don't do anything, right? And you sort of stay away from them. But if you're in law enforcement, and that's what I know the best, no matter what you think about them off the field, on the field, you got their back 24/7. You are
Right.
going to be there. You're going to be there. You're going to help them. You're going to help the community that you are serving and your own community to stay focused on doing your job and making sure everybody gets home safe.
And Mike, on that part too, part of being in the community is raising your hand with courage
Hmm.
and talking to your partner, talking to a coworker, when things aren't going well, that you notice something going on. It's not going along to get along. It is having the courageous conversations in a gentle way. Like what do I say with a client in session? Hey, you know what? I hear what you're saying right now. Mike, what do you need from me right now? How can you take wisdom from me? Do you want me to dance around the barn a little bit, or do you want me to give it to you direct? And most
Right.
everybody says, give it to me direct. And you remember when Chris Logan from First Responder Wellness was on our show? He has this amazing ability when he first meets with a client, like he was explaining to us, hey,
Mhm.
Jim, when things are going wrong and you're, having a hard day, how do you like being approached? How do you like that conversation to go? And, we generally say, hey, just tell me what's going on. And so then Chris remembers that. So when things go sideways with the client or something's going on, he approaches them and goes, hey, Jim, remember when I first met you? Remember when I asked you, hey, if things aren't going well, how do you like me to approach you? You said, be direct. This is that moment. And
Yes.
I love how he does that because it's got grace and mercy, but it's also honest and real. And it keeps the person's ego intact, if that makes sense. I'm not on attack here. I have to talk to you about something.
Right.
And when we're emergency respondees, we're going to make mistakes. It's like I said earlier, it's not going along to get along. It's that community also includes this. Hey, Mike, I have to talk to you about something. I was observing this happening on that call, or it's happening right in front of me. How many times, I'll raise my hand, how many times are we getting irritated at the call that's in front of us for whatever the reasons are, that we're now getting short with the patient? We're now getting short with whoever it is that's in front of us, a coworker, a team member, or the public, whatever it is. That's the point to step in and slow it all down and take take charge of that call, but then take it to the step further. We're community here,
Right.
and what you're doing generally is right on, but this is the moment in time that wasn't right on, and we should talk about this because now we have to either figure it out together or we have to go talk to our supervisor about this. It's important. That's community too. The wolf pack visual, Mike, you see all the time, like there's one alpha, and when things go sideways, that alpha wolf is right there
Mhm.
settling it down, taking care of business. And then what happens at the end? They keep walking together. They keep going on together. They
Right.
figured it out. That's an important part of community too.
And those really are good points, Jim, for sure. And talking about Chris Logan and how he deals with people that he talks to when he first meets them, and I think it's so very important we do that. But and you also talked about when you're out in the field and these things are like, you know, on your back and it's getting frustrated, right? And it took me back to the start of the day, like going into work, knowing I have to have reports finished that day. If it's my last day, something happened yesterday, I have to sort of continue it today. I have to see this person today, whatever it is, and it's building up, right? I might have spilt my coffee in the kitchen. I might have dropped my coffee cup and got pissed off. The dog could have pooped on the floor, and I had to clean it up, and I was pissed off, and I wasn't handling it. I handle it like I usually handle it, right? With anger, right? And with anger and those negative self-talk that I do, that inner critic, like I'm not good enough and it always happens to me and why is everything so hard or why can't it be like this? And I get to work and I get all these calls and I might be rude to one of the civilians or people that I talk to or the customers in their community and I'm there to serve them. And it's really getting I'm really getting butt hurt over a lot of things. The thing is, I don't have those tools. And what are those tools? The tools don't have to be some, object. It could be an idea and a thought and a goal. It could be acceptance. It could be acceptance. It could be forgiveness. It could be understanding. It could be patience. If you loop all those together and you take these positive words, right? Take a positive word jar. If you just think of that, there's so many positive things you can do to work on. And these are all my tools, right? Every time I pick a word, that's a new tool I work on and it's so powerful. And then down the road, I don't have to go home and be quiet and isolate myself and crack open the fifth beer in a row or take that vodka out of the garage where I hid it, and drink that down. My escape. I don't have to go out to a bar. I don't have to go gamble. I don't have to have sex and all these type of things that are my maladaptive coping skills that I've learned over time to relieve that stress. I can actually handle it now with these simple tools. And I meant tools. I think I said tools, but but I can handle it differently, right? I can handle it like I never handled it before. It just takes practice and time. So I think we probably should wrap it up here, Jim. What do you think?
I think that's great. Great point, Mike, and a great spot to slow it all down. I love today's topic. Consider taking the 28-day challenge on community and see
Community.
what happens next. Hey, y'all. Thanks for listening to Halt Call for Backup today. Remember, you're never alone. You're never alone. If you feel like you're alone, you're not. Raise your hand, start the conversation, lean on your community. If you don't have a community, let's get you a community. Take a step back, reload, and relaunch.
Halt and call for backup.
Don't get fooled
again.
again.